organized by the Research Foundation of India in collaboration with Shodh Malwa, Padel University, Gujarat, Eklavya University, JHRF, ARGA, and Edu Academic Inc. Now, let me introduce our today's expert. Sir is an associate professor of finance and accounting with a total of 10 years of experience in academics and 2.5 years of industrial experience. His qualifications include a BBA and MBA in finance, Gujarat SET in management, a PhD in management, a diploma in foreign exchange and risk management, a postgraduate diploma in research and methodology, and a BCom. Sir has a total of 26 publications in various reputable journals like Scopus, ABDC, UGC Care, Web of Science, etc., including a patent in Government of India for which he had received the loyalty grant. Sir has also received three Best Research Paper Awards in various international conferences. With this, I humbly invite Sir to take over the session. Over to you, Sir.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, all. Just confirm the screen sharing. Yeah, I hope it is visible.
Yes, Sir.
Right, thank you. Today we have the topic of ICT and effective presentation skills. So today the theme of this particular thing is, ICT and, innovative teaching and practical aspects. So this is, one of the important parameters for all the teaching and learning process, that we must have to undergo. And wherein we have some innovative approach, some innovative ideas that could incorporate and that could add some values into it, right? As far as the development and overall functionalities of from the student's perspective, right? Wherein we are responsible being a mentor to groom ourselves, and at the same time, when we as a faculty, we as a mentor have groomed ourselves, then only we would be able to download the importance, effectiveness of the concept, and the same things we can execute in the later stage. And that is where the topic called ICT and effective presentation skills is going to very, very important in this today's era of education, because we can't assume the educations and overall development of the students. And even though the expectations of the corporates, they are also going to be in the same directions, so that is where we must have to see that being a faculty, we first learn ourselves, we must comfortable ourselves, and the same things we can easily download to our students when we are putting ourselves into comfortable mode. So that is where ICT and effective presentation skills are going to very, very important parameters for all of us, right? So with this particular note, I'll start my presentation. So first of all, we need to understand the higher educational goal, right? So what are the goals of higher education? So the primary goal of the higher education is, the first is the employability. We must have to think in a front of, the employability. In a sense, we must first have to think like, how we can employ ourselves. That is where how we can get the employment for ourselves, right? So this is the first aspect that we must have to see. So employability, in a sense, we should develop our students in a 360-degree, mode, wherein they should get comfortable for themselves, and that is where they can put themselves into, the useful human resource for the organization, as in when they have to get it registered for themselves for the employment from the corporate, right? So that is where the employability functions is very, very important. That is where the ICT tools and effective presentation skills are going to add not few values, but I can say many more things. That is, every corporates are looking for as a qualitative human resource from the market. So that is where if the students are well known and students are well versed with the utilization of ICT tools, and the same things, whatever work that they are using or that they are doing or incorporating through the ICT tools, and the same work that they can represent to the market, in an effective manner. So that is where the presentation skills are also going to matters as far as, the effectiveness of the, skills and overall development of the students is concerned. So that is where ICT and effective presentation skills are helping universities and institute to develop the students in such a way that, the demand of the universe, demand of the corporates, or, the companies are going to be fulfilled, right? So that is where the employability is one of the primary goal. The second aspect is increasing earning potential. So there is two aspects over here: is the person who is having the vision of growth, the person who is having the vision of moving ahead in their life. So difference between employability and increasing earning potentialities: when you stop gaining, when you stop learning, when you stop putting yourself into uncomfortable zone, so that is where you stop learning, right? And if you stop learning at any stage, that means your the growing hungers is going to be stopped. And that is where you cannot improve ourselves or improve yourself in any more, right? So that is where if you stop learning, you will not get anything, or you will not cope up with the current market scenario, current market requirement in terms of all the technicalities that you need to incorporate as a part of your job and employment perspective. So that is where if you're focusing upon the increasing earning potentials as a part of higher education goal, so you must have to have the clear visions in terms of learning all the modern tools and techniques that is going to be in your part. You should not be hesitate to learn anything, and that is where why we are discussing today is the ICT tools are need of an hour that every students and faculty have to learn, because we must remember during the COVID-19. So before COVID-19 hit the India, nobody was using any AI tools, any ICT tools as a part of teaching learning process, right? But the moment COVID-19 hit to the world, and especially in India, before that, all the academics things in terms of classroom teaching learning process or assignment submissions or evaluation patterns, that all things were happening to be offline mode, wherein student has to write, student has to go at the locations to you know to listen to the lectures, they have to submit their assignments into physical copies. So this was a thing which was happening. Now the people have stopped doing this, because during COVID-19 people have tried and tested the importance and effectiveness of the ICT tools. And that is where they must realize, from both the fraternities, from the mentors and mentees, right, that how quickly, how effectively you can, utilize those ICT tools, and at the same time, how these ICT tools are helping you to reduce your efforts, and at the same time, how these ICT tools are bringing the effectiveness, and efficiencies into overall process. So that is where this is one of the important aspect. Like if you want to improve your earning potentiality, means if you want to grow your life from the executive to manager, or from CEO, right? So you must have to adopt all such tools, because if you are well versed about all these tools, you will grow, and that is where your demand in the market is always going to be grow. So we must have to teach in today's scenario to our students about the utilization of all the ICT tools, and at the same time they should put themselves into representative mode, because until and unless if people are not representing themselves, so the person from the other side, that is the corporate who are acting as a recruiters, they will not understand the skills and talents that the person is having, until and unless any live demonstration that person has to do as far as technical field is concerned, right? But from other field like management, commerce, right, wherein people don't have to perform any technical functions of the job, but they're wherein they have to be very managerial person, so they must have to speak out, right? So that is where the how effective presentation skills will be displayed among the recruiters, that is going to be matters. So when I'm saying effective presentation skill, that doesn't mean you should have a good PPTs, good animation files. Obviously it could be a part of it, because ICT tool is again plays an important role as far as how the content that you are creating for your audience, so that always create the acceptable acceptance powers among them, but at the same time how you are representing those things in front of the audience. So that is where your presentation skills are also going to matters and plays an important role as far as your higher education goals is concerns. Advanced knowledge, right? Whatever field in which you are, you must have the advanced knowledge about all the things and concept that you must have to incorporate. So that is where advanced knowledge skills that you must have to adopt. Whatever changes from the student's point of view, or from the, I'm not saying only from the academic or faculty's point of view, but even from the corporate who is working as an employee, they also have to improve their knowledge in terms of in which field they are. So So that is where the advanced knowledge is also always help you out to be remain on the top of the job wherein you are working. So that is where the other goal of the primary education goal is increasing earning potential. That is also going to be fulfilled in this part. Wisdom, right? So you should have a courage to do it. So you must have to teach your students to be courageful, right? To be ready for accepting any challenges in their life. And that is where the adoption power for all the challenges that they have to face is going to be increased. And research and experimentation, right? You must have to try and you must have to force your students to test the benefit of all the research and experimentation activity that they will do in their life, right? If you research something, if you invent something, you will always have an added advantage in terms of first mover advantage in the market. So that is where research and experiment, not only for the first mover advantage, even the things which has already been invented, but if you keep doing research on it, you'll always gain something out of it. You will always create a better understanding out of all the parameters, concept, working pedagogy, and any other things which are directly or indirectly related with your working culture and ethics, right? So that is where research and experimentation is also playing an important role as far as fulfilling the higher educations, right? Secondary goals, so that is spiritual growth. The student should be motivated spiritually, psychologically, right? We always force our students to adopt the challenges, work for something, invent something, work for the society, right? So we must have to develop the spiritual growth among the students by explaining the benefits that out of that any activity that they're doing it. So spiritually, we have to make their motive very high, right? Mental growth. So if they are spiritually strong and they are advanced knowledge, so obviously the concept that they are gaining out of the entire process is going to be boost up, and that is where their mental growth is going to happen. So that is where the secondary goal is the mental growth that they have to see to it. Third is engaging in question answer. So you must have to involve your students to be in the question answer round, because until and unless if students are not engaged themselves into question answers, they will not listen or they will not learn critical thinking ability. So that is where your role being a mentor is you always have to put some questions in the minds of students. So that is where students will create some understanding, will create some curiosity, and that curiosity will turn up, or that curiosity will finally convert it into critical thinking ability. So that is where engaging in question answer is important. Facilitating better lifestyle. So obviously, if your students are highly employed, have a vision in their life, with the advanced knowledge and courage, right? So obviously, students will be able to achieve the better lifestyle, and this kind of things is possible with the help of all the advancement of the knowledge is going to be incorporated at their foundations years. That is through the college life, or from the schooling life, right? So that is where you have to learn the ICT and effective presentation skills, because it is a current scenario wherein the people are adopting such changes, and it keeps changes on a daily basis, right? So you must have to learn all the new tools and techniques which are coming into the market to facilitate the better learning and the knowledge sharing purpose, right? So that is where the better facilitating lifestyle is going to be possible if we are adopting such kind of tools into day-to-day practices and developing a scientific outlook, right? So ICT is having various access of the material, various sources of material wherein we have to learn, which are directly or indirectly connected with our topics. It provides some facts and figures of the topic that we have to see. It provide the better learning abilities, research point of view. So that is where we would be able to develop the scientific outlook for all the purpose and prospects that we must have to see to it. So that is where it is going to help you out as a part of secondary goal. So three dimensions of ICT tools that we must have to understand. Who will be the better person to digest the ICT tools? So the person who always believe, or the person who have the ability to enhance some creativity, right? Who has a eagerness to learn something new, who has an eagerness to try and test something new. So that is where the person who is highly creative, right? So that is where the creativity plays an important role as a part of dimensions of ICT tools. So the person who is highly creative will adopt these tools very easily and fast. That doesn't mean the person who is not having creativity cannot try and test, but the person needs to develop the creativity, and creativity always comes from creating a scientific outlook, generating a spiritual growth among the students, and they can become a creative if they are completely focusing upon why, where, when, how, and how much, right? So 5W2H concept is going to play over here. So how the students are creating a curiosity in their mind, and how they're finding the ways to get the solutions, right? So that is where the creativity will generate in the minds of students. So that is where the person who becomes creative, or who was a creative, will have a better understanding of all the changes which is happening into the market, and they don't hesitate to adopt those things, right? That is very, very important things in this discussion for the 2 days of topic of ICT and effective presentation skills, right? And most importantly, if you learn all the tools and techniques, so you are good in all the aspect, right? In terms of generating a content, so generating a content is a different aspect, and representing of content is different aspect, right? So generating a content is a role of the person who is a scientific outlook, and through they are fulfilling their scientific outlook with the utilization of ICT tool. So generating a content is a one aspect, and representing of content is a different aspect. That is where the person presentation skills is going to matters. So how you are communicating with the others in terms of whatever concept that you need to represent in front of your audience. So that is where your convincing power, your presentation skills, your content creations, and content representations will play an important role, right? So that is where the three dimension of ICT tools. The one is creativity, second is competitiveness. That means how you are taking a challenge on a day-to-day basis, right? It's not like that, sometimes people are losing their courage. That is where the spiritual and mental growth will play over here. So sometimes people lose their hopes, right? Because they are mentally not grown in terms of all the recent changes. And this is not overnight process, right? You must have started stop learning before 4 years, 5 years down the line, and gradually you lost the momentum slowly and gradually. So when it start getting losing the momentum, you will not realize, right? But after certain period of time, there would be a huge gap that you have created between what is happening into the market and what is doing by you in the market, right? And that is where, if this gap is going to be very high, then person will feel suffocation, right? You will feel suffocated, and that is where you will lose the momentum, and that is where you stop growing if you're still not changing yourself. And even if you try to change yourself, it takes some time to be on the track, right? So that is where the person who is competitive in all the times, in a sense, he must give a challenge to himself. Because please try to understand that we are a faculty, right? We all have stopped our schooling and college before 15 years and 20 years, right? So that doesn't mean that we stop learning, right? And we must have realized also, right, the moment we have stopped learning, we must have created a gap. So that is what even I understand today is like, if I was in college, there was no subject of research methodology or any tools of research methodology or data analysis kind of things are in our mark sheet also, right? But the slowly and gradually we all have started adopting it. And that is where the difference has been created in terms of the person or faculty who is good in research, right? And today is a scenario that the person who is good in research will have a better employment in the academic field, right? Because your research requires for all the university internet purpose and all these aspect, right? So what is the difference between, we all are masters, right? Either you have MBA, either you have MPharm, either you have MEd, either you have BTech, MTech, right? So you have MTech also, right? But all MTech, all MBA people are having equal jobs? No. All faculties who have done MTech and MBA have equal jobs? No. Salary structures are equal? No. That is where the difference will be created. The person who have a good research background will have a better chances at the good universities and institutes. So this is a need of an hour, right? We can't ignore that. Sometimes people are getting frustrated, but we should not get frustrated. Rather, we have to take a challenge and we have to learn, right? One day it will be possible, right? If we have a courage and if we have hungers to do it, right? So that is where we must have to understand, we must have to be competitive. And collaboration, I always believe the academic field will work on the collaboration, right? Let's say if I have to do one research, so I may not be the good in all the fields, right? Because whatever paper that you need to accept in good journals like Scopus, CBDC, they are asking practical implications of all the topic and content that you are writing. And when I'm saying this practical aspect applications, right, so you are not jack of all, right? You are not good in everywhere. You must have to collaborate with other field of people wherein different concept and conventions is applicable as far as your research is concerned, right? You are let's say if I'm from management field, So I'm good in writing in terms of managerial things, right? But there are certain aspects which is related to the society, psychology. So I may not be aware about the psychological factor, right? Because I'm not psychologist. So to give my research paper to be, practical exposures and practical implications in a real-time situation, I may have to collaborate with the person who is belongs to the psychological field, or the person who is belong to the faculty of psychology in any university, right? Those who are good in research. So that is where I can give better shape to my research, and that is where collaboratively I can prepare a paper which have real-time implications in the market, and that is where market will accept my paper. It always begins from the journal acceptance, and once the paper has been accepted in good qualitative journals, right, people will start perceiving your papers, and out of which the future researcher, you are the roadmap, you are the role model for them, and even for the society as a whole. If your paper is affecting to few or majority of the portion of the society, so obviously people, society will always give you and start respecting your research work. And this research work is always going to be incorporated in academics in terms of the citations, right? So people will cite your paper, right? That is the future researcher who is going to do the research. They will always cite your paper, and that is where you are getting an acceptance for your research work into the market, right? So this is how the entire process is working, right? And if you have all these three parameters, you will bring the harmony in the society. So if you create all these three aspects, overall you will be better acceptance product into the market, and that is where you will not face any problems, and your life will be very smooth if you have the proper adoptions of ICT and effective presentation skills, right? Still we have not started with the effective presentation skill, but yes, it is an integral part of the effective presentation skills also, right? So creativity, competitiveness, collaboration, right? Because when we are going for presentations also, what content we need to represent, that person who is belong to that particular field, he's a better person to judge the content that we need to deliver, right? So collaboratively it is happening, and that is where it brings the harmony in the society. That means you are getting the acceptance and successful ratios into the market, right? Types of ICT tools. Obviously, this is a digital media wherein YouTube. So anything and everything that you are looking for as a part of process or procedure that you are not aware, and if you want to use to, so obviously you can go to YouTube, and you can see the entire process, how it is happening, where to place, how to place, where to begin, why to begin, right? So all the contents are available in YouTube, right? So it is highly used platform, so wherein I don't have to explain what is YouTube. Wikipedia, this is text format things. Usually, Wikipedia is having any content that you're looking for in terms of historical backgrounds and characteristics form. So all the details of any content that you're looking for is available on Wikipedia as well. So Wikipedia is one of the platforms, which you can always browse from Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and you'll have all the details of it. Google Groups, very, very important for academicians to learn and understand this, because in today's, or somebody might say that it is a very old product. I understand it is a very old product, but at the same time, it is not old product as of now today also, right? People are using it. People are using it like anything. If you want to create a survey form for your PhD questions, right? If you want to have your admissions, let's say you are in university, you have 500 students enrollment, and if you want to save all the students, 500 students name into your contact list, you want to add all the 500 students contact numbers into your contact list, and then after you must have to create the WhatsApp group for all the communications throughout the academic year. Being a faculty, we need to do it, right? So if you want to do it, it happens over here in 2 3 minutes, right? But the point over here is we must know the process how to deal with that, right? So all the 500 students contact will be added into your WhatsApp and your phone list, and you can immediately create the WhatsApp group for all the students that we have it, right? So it 2 3 minutes it takes, but if you go by this process to be manually, I think it takes 5 days, and that too with a very frustrating environment that you will feel, right? So the point over here is, the physical and monotonous work has gone. Now ICT and technology has placed tremendous role over here is, and that is where we have to also go with market scenario. Just imagine you are working in one university and other faculties working in one university, wherein your admission ratio is 500 per year, So if you have to add any students into WhatsApp group, so you are taking 5 days because you are doing manually, and the person who is from the other university, he is well versed with all the text things that you have to do it, and that person is adding all the content with only 5 minutes, right? So obviously the thin line of difference is clearly visible to all, and that is where you make the difference in terms of the efficiency that you are trying to put into the process, right? So if you know this process, you'll also try, and you will also try to get the things from your students as well, right? So even if you are well versed and if you must teach your students, so you can also tell to the one of the students class representative, to make this process and finish it up by tomorrow. So that is how you can download from the student's point of view, and students will have the teaching aspect also, right? But the point over here is, are we aware about it? Then only it could be possible. Otherwise, it is very difficult, right? Google Drive, all the content that you have to share with the students, you must download and upload over here, and it will be accessible for all to whom you are sharing your rights, right? Gmail is, you all are aware about it. Google Slide, so if you are a Google Slide, so Google Slide is, if you want to if you are, let's say this is an FTP program, and if I want to issue the certificates, right? So how can I issue the certificates? So I can align the Google Slide with the Google form, and the moment person will submit their responses, the certificate will be immediately shoot out, right? So I don't have to shoot the certificates to the individuals, right? Once I have filled it, whether it is 500 audience or 2000 audience, the moment person have filled the Google form, the certificates are going to be shoot out, right? So this is the effectiveness that ICT brings into our day-to-day process, right? Sorry, where the manual process is going to be very reduced more, right? So if we know this, then only we can utilize, right? But until and unless if we have don't tried, so we'll get frustrated out of this process, right? So that is where we have to utilize it. Google Docs, so it is a similar form of MS Word. So if you are working on some research paper with 2, 3 faculties or 5 faculties, as I said, its research is a collaborative effort with the utilization of ICT tools. So if you are one researcher is sitting in Gujarat, one is in Madhya Pradesh, one is in UP, one is in Kerala, right? And all the 4 people have to work on the common documents. So you can share the content on Google Docs, and you can start working while sharing the rights to that people, right? So that is where Google Docs is going to play an important role as far as your research and overall effectiveness is concerned, as far as material creation and material sharing as well, right? So any person wants to get this material who have rights, they can easily download it from the Google groups, right? Blogs, obviously, you can refer the blog from the multiple peoples who have shared their thoughts on particular topics. So obviously, while reading the blogs, you will get an idea about all the recent affairs which is happening into the market. And the same thing you can also incorporate into your own materials and presentations, and that is where you can make your presentation to be fruitful. And although the block is a technical aspect, so it also enhances your technical skills while searching and browsing all different blogs at the different platforms. So that is where you can enhance your teaching and learning ability, and you can bring the effectiveness in the overall teaching learning process that you have to incorporate into classrooms, right? Google Maps, I think it is well versed, shows the location. Slide shares, so obviously if we are facing any issues, so we can also refer to the slide share. But I think the days are gone. Even the AI tools for slide share is already in the market, and if you have the paid version, so just type the topic and the requirement of the slides and content. The Gamma AI will generate all the slides that you are looking for of your content, and you can easily download those slides and you can have the representation. And even during whatever content that has been generated through AI, if you want to make a modification through yourself, that is also possible while going into edit functions. And once your edit is finalized, you must save your content. And after saving and finalizing your content, you can easily download all the slides that you have created. And believe me, these slides are very good in terms of presentations, backgrounds, and all such formalities that we have to go through it, right? So that is where SlideShare is going to be important source of information. So you have Wikispace, then Skype is an online platform to connect meetings, Dropbox, Facebook, social media, Twitter, now it is X, Digo, SlideShare we have already covered, Mozilla search engine, and Google Chrome. So these are the source of information wherein we can browse it and we can have the information, right? So role of ICT tools, it was a ray of hope in these pandemics because before pandemics, there was no online classes provision in India. But then after UGC and AICT has allowed to be online, and even we must have tried in various MMTTC platforms, which was earlier known as SRDC, right? We were having faculty induction program, refresher course, right? But even UGC and UGC has allowed to all their MMTTC centers across India from the state university that you can conduct all the faculty induction programs and refresher course through the online mode also. So people from the different diverse locations across the India will join this program and they can get the benefit of all these things. And this is one of the recent example that we all have connected to the Google Meet, and we all are from the different locations, right? We are all the different locations, and while sitting at the different locations, we are checking all these things, and we are looking for all this aspect, and we are learning at the sitting in the same platforms and location. ICT has become an integral part of today's teaching learning process, as face-to-face interactions among teachers and students was bit difficult. So why it was ray of hope? That is the reasons which is given over here. So countries over the globe using ICT tools for teaching learning process for facilitating information, dissemination, and communication in all the areas of teaching learning process. Benefits of effective utilization of ICT tools. What are the benefits? So first is it motivates the students because more students motivation is keep high because there is no much cost involved, and most importantly students while sitting at the home, by putting themselves into comfortable mode, they can have uninterrupted teaching learning process and there is no disturbance in between the classes. Make session more attentive and interesting. Obviously you have your screens and you have your chairs, you have your platforms, so you can make yourself comfortable, and if you are feeling comfortable you can be more attentive and interesting because you are not being irritated by anything else. So that is where attention and attractions is going to be very high, and most importantly you have multiple tools to check the reliability and validity of the content during the presentation or things which is going on. So that is where you are enjoying this process. So even during the session, if you're not understanding anything, you have multiple tools to access and browse and get the things within a fraction of seconds. So that is where ICT tools are going to be much more beneficial for all the students and faculties to whom they have to go through, right? Re-energize teachers' motivation. Obviously, the load of teachers, efforts of teachers, are going to be reduced drastically because it re-energize teachers' motivations and re-energize in a sense. Teachers are backbone of this, and their load in terms of all the administrative things that they have to perform is going to be reduced drastically. So that is where it re-energizes the teachers' motivations. Learn new skills and techniques. So obviously you will learn new skills and techniques because you can attend many programs, many such initiatives in terms of FDP, conferences, workshops, wherein you are meeting to the new people, faculties, resource persons, right? And you will learn from their, knowledge, and so this is how you can have the, you are on the receiving part, and you must observe their good things, and you'll try to incorporate into your teaching learning process. So obviously your ability is going to be enhanced, and that will be reflected in the satisfaction level of the students. Help students to understand the concept clearly. So obviously ICT tool will help you to understand clearly because the screen is very visible to them. There is no disturbance in between. You can have the effective presentations over here, and that is where the students will have an understanding of concept clearly. Even in the concept, if you feel there is some requirement of the audio visual, so you can easily play on the screen and students can listen without any interruption. So obviously the clarity that any concept will gain in attention will be possible through the ICT classes. So it's a blessing in disguise from students' perspective. So why it is blessing in disguise from students' perspective? So it is a mixed model of technology and teaching, right? Wherein it is best suitable in terms of the person who is tech friendly and who is believing modernize into new generation. That is where the creativity person, right? The person who believes in creativity, they're always modern for any generations, right? So if you are creative, you are always modern for all the generations. And that is where it brings the seeds of creativity, as I said. If students is not understanding in physical classroom, they either ask to the faculty, and there will be sometimes possible that the faculty would not be able to understand to the students in a manner they are expecting. Some few students require few explanation, and many students are required more explanation, right? But being a faculty, we need to. It's very difficult to understand the psychology of the students in terms of the understanding that they have gained even after our lectures and the problem solving approach. So that is where we must have to see the seeds of creativity over here. ICT tools gives an access to the students to do any courses at any time by connecting themselves with the best of faculties, right? So you can always connect yourself with the best of faculties. And most importantly, it is a cost friendly wherein you don't require any much investment. You just have your laptop and your internet connectivity either through your mobile phone or the Wi-Fi, which is not much cost you much. It's a one-time investment that you can say, and then after you have uninterrupted learning in terms of teaching learning, right? From teachers' perspective, ICT tool always brings to make teachers to be real-time faculty in terms of more advanced knowledge, and that is where they can improve the child's future that they have to gain it. And that is where if you are more advanced in terms of all the modern tools and technology that we may have to adopt, we would able to download these things in the minds of students and day-to-day utilizations for all the academics purpose. That is where this kind of faculties who are believing ICT tools and adoption of creativity, they'll try to bridge the gap between the real-time expectations and the actual things that student and teacher has to be pursued, right? And that is where we'll try and we'll force the students to get more nearest uh, to the academic achievement and corporate gaining, right? So that is where it is a power to make teachers to unlimited number of students, which is not possible, right? So in physical classroom, there was limitation in terms of the infrastructure that any universities and colleges are having. But in ICT tools, we know that in Google, we are on the Google Meet. So in free version, we have up to 100 capacity, and then after you have to have a paid version. But we know the limitations of physical classes wherein teachers have a direct control on student is max to max 60 or 670, right? Then after you can't control, and if at all you are fulfilling, the classroom environment are not going to be up to the mark as it is expected, right? Because it is very difficult in terms of administrative function that teacher has to do it as a part of controlling the students, right? So that is where it is difficult. Modern tools of ICT. So you can see this. These are the various tools of ICT. Like you can go for SWAYAM, which is approved by Ministry of Education and Government of India. So many universities, institute, IIM, IITs, IISCs are uploading their MOOC courses wherein students and faculties can enroll themselves. So apart from the teaching learning which is happening in your physical classroom or in your university, we must motivate students to go into this kind of initiatives and try to get the maximum participation from the students' perspective, wherein Swayam is having all the content to be free, but the examinations are paid, 1,000 rupees per exam. So we must encourage students, and sometimes we must reward to the students if we want to encourage them to appear for this kind of courses. Like we should reimburse the examination fees, right? We have done this in the past, and we have seen this 100% enrollment for this Swayam course, while the total strength of the students was 500, right? So this was a big achievement that we have felt at that time, and to even today we are also continuing with this legacy. So obviously students will motivate to do this, right? Coursera, again, it is an international platforms for all the MOOC courses where good universities across the globe like Yale University, Harvard University professors are uploading their videos and content and quizzes. So you can enroll yourself by paying some of the fees, and even for some universities who have a license version, their faculty and students can access free of cost. Harvard universities are also having their courses. Baidu was one of the flourishing organization for providing the content for primary education and secondary education, But now evolving of ICT and AI tools, now this business has shut down because once the material has been passed on to the market, people have stopped enrolling, right? But although Vaiju was one of the time, it was very flourishing and was charging 1 lakh rupees for primary education study material, right? So it was a great platform of learning for students, and many people have enjoyed the benefit of this Vaiju as well. I am Bangalore is also providing some courses on marketing management. That is one of the retail management. Google and IIT Madras. So online classroom teaching tools, we can connect through Zoom. We have classing platform to have classroom teaching. Go to meeting, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and Schoology and Big Blue Button. So these are the various platform. I'm not saying that these are the only platform, but apart from that, there are various other platforms out there. But mostly used are Zoom, Google Meet, and somehow then after it is Microsoft Team. Right. So these are the three important tools for online classroom, wherein people and faculties can connect with each other and they have uninterrupted teaching learning process, wherein student will enjoy the content sharing from the faculty side. That is called it, and that is possible with the invention of this kind of ICT tools, which is there in the market. To take a quiz, we have a Google Form quiz, Think Exams, Flexi Quiz, Testmos.com, Profos Quiz Maker, right? So these are the platforms wherein faculty can have the quiz making. So here the faculties can create the quiz and they can share the link with the students to appear. And this also have the boundaries of time limit, wherein after the time limit, the faculty have a controlling and administrative rights to close the acceptance of the responses. And once a response has been submitted, this kind of platforms will also help the faculties to evaluate the responses within a fraction of seconds the moment student will submit the responses, right? And one of the copy they can also send to the students also for their verification also, right? So this kind of tools are also going to make a lot of difference in the efforts that any faculty has to make it even after teaching learning process in the form of evaluation, right? So there saves the time, saves the efforts. Student can sit at anywhere and they can have the uninterrupted, appearing for the quiz. And the evaluation is ready within a fraction of seconds, and that we can add on to the market as a part of CC component, that is continuous evaluation component. So this is possible with the invention of ICT tools, but the faculty who is hesitate, to adopt such kind of initiatives, so they also continue with the legacy of the physical work, right? And in today's scenario, this kind of physical works are not acceptable because world has grown like anything, and wherein we should not stick to the monotonous parameter, but we must have to go beyond the boundaries, and that is where we can enhance ourselves, right? And Tasmos.com and Google Form Quiz are most widely used platforms for taking quiz. Might be people are not knowing Tasmos.com because it is not affiliated with the Google, but yes, Google Form Quiz are well known for everyone. So we must utilize in a proper way and authentic way. That is where we can reduce our efforts, we can save the time, we can bring the efficiency in the process, and most importantly, student will enjoy the process. I see resources for education. So what things you required if you want to execute the utilization of ICT? So that is where you have to have, one is screen, second is you need a projector, you need a laptop, and you need a software. So if you have all these four parameters, you can easily demonstrate the content that you have to represent in the market, right? So that is where you should have the monitors, you should have the projectors, you should have the laptop, and there should be some effective software which can bring your efforts to be on the downside and put the efficiencies to be on the higher side, right? So that is where the resources is going to matters over here. Effective presentation skills. So what is effective presentation skills? So any communication that you adopted as a part of speaking situations and while talking to the group and addressing the meetings or briefing a team, right? So that is called communication. When presentation skills, you need four things that you have to do it before going for the presentation. Firstly, you need to plan what you need to present. What you planned that you need to execute in the real-time situation, that is where you need to prepare the content. Then after, once your content got prepared, you must have to practice your content. That is, before going to presentation, you should not roughly go and present for the first time. But before that, you must have to observe your content, you have to practice yourself and find out the mistakes. And once you are confident enough while having repeated a demo and execution of your errors, you must be ready with yourself to present the things. So that is where the four functions in terms of effective presentation skills. So you must have to understand while preparing the content that you need to plan. So you must have to first understand to whom you are going to represent, right? Let's say if I'm coming today for this, FTP program, so I know that I am going to represent to the faculties from the different universities and institutes from different locations, right? Or from the different faculties, right? So that is when I need to understand who is my target audience, right? Wherein, if my target audience is faculty, then I should discuss about UGC and AICT. But if my target audience is, corporates, I should not discuss the UGC and AICT, right? Because it doesn't make any sense. So that is where the understanding of target audience is very important. Why are they there, right? You must need to understand the target audience which is coming to listen to you. You must need to understand their objective for attending your sessions. You must need to understand your goals, why you are representing, what is your expectations out of these meetings or presentations. You must need to carry the time limit within which you need to finish it out, and accordingly you need to prepare the content and where will it take place, right? You also need to understand where it is going to be take place, right? So you must be understand that what sort of technological support that you are going to get wherever you are going to make a presentation. Let's say you have prepared a presentation in Prezi, but if you are going it somewhere for presentation and Prezi is not supporting, then you will stuck up. The entire efforts that you have prepared is going to be in a vain, right? So that is where you need to understand where it is going to be take place, right? And accordingly, you need to have a backup plan if something is not going to work out. Prepare. So what you have planned in terms of time duration, in terms of target audience, in terms of technicalities requirements. So you must need to structure your content. That is called chapter guidelines or chapter schemes. You should be prompt enough in terms of getting the things. Visual aids wherein it is required for the better understanding in terms of content clarity. You must have to provide voice, right? Which sort of voice you need to you should prepare with the voice modulations, your appearances, what sort of attire that you are going to prepare for the presentation. Again, attire is depend on the geographical location and cultural differences, right? You should not say that I will be go at same attire and same appearances at everywhere, right? Somehow, if you feel that there is a cultural differences, you must have to see to it. Which style you need to represent, you should try yourself. And finally, you need to decide which style is efficient for me to communicate the things. And most importantly, the understanding of the audience should be on the higher side. Questions, right? You must have to prepare few questions for to understanding. That is where your preparation. So that is how you need to structure. The presentation has three parts. First is introduction part, second is main theme, and finally you need to conclude and summarize, right? So for introduction, if you are talking about in terms of structure of PPT, so grab the audience attention, right? You must create the curiosity at the beginning of your presentations. Then gradually you need to have, bringing your content to be the relevant side of the topic and the purpose for which you are making presentation in front of your target audience, right? So that is the main crux in terms of objectives, advantages, or types or parameters that you need to explain. So that is a part of main theme. And finally, summary and conclusion is a key message, right? So out of all the presentations, what is your real-time outcomes that any audience will get it? So that is where key message needs to be passed on. Visualize. Visualize, it should be, use simple fonts, colors, and graph, right? So graphical representations, images and clipboard, 3 to 7 bullet points per slide, right? So whenever you prepare any slide, just like I have prepared in this, so you should have bullet points and very short and sweet content that you need to put, wherein audience can have clear visibility. They should not feel bored and they can easily perceive your slides, content, and most importantly, the message that you are going to pass on through your presentation skills. And that is where it has been mentioned in fourth point. Don't overcrowd your slides, but keep it very small, short, and sweet. And most importantly, you should work out on the visualization part. It should look professional, right? And that is where it is new and different visual aid, right? Something new, right? You should not be monotonous from the previous slides or previous legacy that we are seeing in the market, but it should be something new, right? Where people will feel that yes, something new is there, and that is where you will be able to wake up the people and listen to your presentation, right? Otherwise, people will lose the momentum in between the presentation. So that is where you also have to take care. You have to put some pause. You should also have some gaming. You should also have some fun during the presentation, right? Wherein people will get back to your presentation, right? So that is the art and skills of the person. So that is from my side. Now I'm making this session open for question answer. So if you have any questions, you can always ask. I'm ready to answer. Yes. Any questions? Any suggestions? Any experience? So you can share it over here. Yes, please.
Are there
Yes.
any questions? Anyone? Any doubts?
May I ask a question?
Yeah, yeah, please.
Hello, this is Dr. Labuni Basu. Sir, I would like to know that at the time of delivering lecture through, projector, uh, what software would be the best for, to say, use, and student will understand it very easily. Because some softwares there are lots of complexities and functioning at the time of running functioning it's a little bit quite hazardous. So what
Right.
kind of softwares we can use?
See, what is the theme of this today's topic is ICT tools and presentation skills, right? So, while giving the definition of effectiveness and difficulty level, so we must need to understand until and unless if we are not comfortable with any process, it always difficult for us, right? And when we are well versed and experienced for this any software, it is very easy for us, right, to download in front of students. So most importantly, whatever software that you are using, there is no software to be good and there is no software to be bad as far as the presentation is concerned, right? Even though you carry a simple PPT and put the content, but your explanation things and the to the point topic that you are carrying for your students, that always create an impact, right? Even if I don't have any backgrounds, but if I have my content that has been taken out from good resources, and that good resources also been cited and referred in my PPT, wherein people can easily refer that where is this sources from. So this kind of presentations with the utilization of ICT tools will always work out. And apart from that, if you have done this kind of work and also you have an added flavor in terms of all the colors, themes, so you can obviously utilize, right? And there are multiple software in this today's scenario, like I have told, there is a AI tool for Gamma AI wherein you can have effective presentations. Just you just type the topic and Gamma AI will ready with all the presentation things you are looking for. Even you can restrict your presentation with the number of slides also, right? And even after getting the results from Gamma AI, you can also modify the content that you are looking for, right? So this is the kind of facility that the today's scenario is that. So there is no software which is good or bad, but most importantly, how effectively we are learning those software and how effectiveness we are bringing into the process, right? Let's say you are not aware with the Gamma AI and somebody is using Gamma AI. So you for preparing any PPT, you might take 2 days, 3 days time, right? And the person who was using Gamma AI will prepare it, and out of this presentation, they will go through it. That yes, this was the content of the PPT. What is the explanation? So again, this explanation they will get it from Chat GPT or Gemini. So the work of this person will always going to be end up in 2 hours, wherein your work is going to be end up in 3 days. So the effectiveness that we are looking for, and if you are getting the things with the less effort, you'll always feel free, right? You always feel confidence. And the same things you can represent, and you can save your time, efforts, energy in front of the students, wherein the effectiveness is always going to bring out, right? So there is no specific answer in terms of software. You can have the PowerPoint, you can have this Prezi software, you can also prepare your presentation in Canva, right? You can also prepare your presentation in terms of Gamma AI. But most importantly, it depends on the confidence level. It depends on our groundwork that we have done it. It depends on how comfortable we are in terms of running those presentations, how effectively we are communicating with the students, and that is where the understanding will build up. There is no one particular factor will bring the effectiveness and efficiency, right? There are multiple things and parameters that we have to take care as far as representing our content in front of the students. I hope I had answered your questions. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Right. I hope there is no questions now. So thank you so much, all of you, for connecting, and thank you so much for bearing me for some delay due to heavy traffic. But thank you so much for all the patience in terms of waiting for 15 minutes and even after
Thank you,
attending
sir.
this. Right. So thank you so much to all of you, all participants, RFI teams, coordinator, Asmi madam. Right. Thank you so much. Over to you, madam.
Yes, sir. So, on behalf of the entire RFI team, I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to Sir for such an amazing session. Also, I would like to express my gratitude to all the participants for the active participation. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.